Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. Why does it sound like I'm yelling? It's your host, Sean. We've bellied up to the bar today. Everything's getting situated, but we got to do it. It's that time. It's almost sports time, and everybody's always asking, how do you get into different businesses and all these different things in the industry? So I figured, why not bring on with us an award-winning actor, writer, freelance journalist, Chippendale dancer. No, I'm just throwing that out there. But we've brought with us today Miguel, and I keep wanting to switch his name around so he can yell at me before. Maybe when this is all over, we're going to change his name to a little. But we have Mr. Miguel Mike Medina. See, look at that. You didn't know you were getting all those applause, did you? Can you hear me, Miguel?
Yeah. I can.
All right, you didn't know you were getting all them applause today, did you? So we're going to go ahead and get the house all ready here for Mr. Miguel, and let's go ahead and do some our typical normal stuff here. So for those of you that are joining us, and you can see the pictures behind me, we got the big board for Sticker and a Cause. As always, if you've got something you're supporting, whether you're an actor, actress, and you've made stickers of yourself, you've got your own podcast, I don't care what it is. Whatever it happens to be that you've got going on, go ahead and reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, the Above the Bar podcast, our parent network, Earplug Podcast Network, or on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and our email. They're all the Above the Bar podcast. Emails the Above the Bar podcast at gmail.com. Send me a message. Let me know what you got going on. We'll go ahead and read about it on air, and we'll put your sticker on the big board for Sticker and a Cause. And also, maybe your media is in a slump, or maybe it's all choked up and it can't get its lines right. You need to reach out to Media by Dibs. That's DIBS. You can find Dibs on Facebook at Media by Dibs, on LinkedIn at Andrew Dibble, or on Instagram at Media by Dibs. You reach out to him and let him know that you're there to belly up to the bar, and he's going to give you a 10% discount on your first order and a free consultation to determine what kind of media you need. So remember, that's Media by Dibs. All right. House cleaning is done. Everything is situated. We brought Mr. Miguel. He's down in Manhattan. He's hanging out in the NYC. You ever go to K-Town? Do you ever go to K-Town? Up off of 6th Ave?
I don't think so. No.
If you ever get a chance, if you come out of Penn Station, right there on, 7th at the front of Penn, and, just keep walking all the way up, go to K-Town. You got to go to, the best ramen spot. The best everything food-wise I think you can find in the city.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm a fat kid at heart. So, again, welcome, brother. So, let's go through this resume again real quick. So, you're an award-winning actor, freelance sports journalist. What else am I missing here? You've got what are some of the other writer?
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm missing one, and I can see it right in my head. Filmmaker.
There we go.
I was trying to remember. So you've done. How long have you been into this industry?
As a freelance sports journalist since 2013.
Wow.
As an actor since 2014, and as a filmmaker writer since 2016.
Wow. So you've done pretty well for yourself pretty quickly in that industry, comparably to some.
Yeah. I'm just a person that I always say I don't wait for no one to give me the green light. I gotta create my own. I create my own opportunities. I'm not one of these people that cries and complains on social media. I just go ahead and do it.
So, there's a lot of people out there that want to get into these industries, want to get into all the things you're doing. They think they know. They think they've got it figured out. what was the catalyst for you to get into these industries?
I'm gonna start with sports first. Sports has always been truly so.
You're kind of breaking up on us there, Miguel. You're I'm losing you there, brother. I heard sports was kind of, and then we lost you.
I'll say that sports was my true first love. So I attended City College,
Okay.
City College of New York. They didn't have a journalism major, but they had a journalism minor. So I took journalism courses, and during my time there, I was part of the school's magazine. So I would cover sports topics, and things like that. And that's where it all started for me. But it wasn't until 2016 when I started to take my blog very seriously. I started my blog in 2013, but it got more serious when the pandemic happened because from 2013 through 2019, I used the blog but not as a business. And then it was 2020 where I really started using the blog as a business and I became more consistent with it. And ever since then, I just improved in the sense of buying more equipment, networking with people. So my networking got better, my resources got better, and I'm happy with where I am right now.
That's pretty impressive. So now, what did your blog just start as a sports blog, just right off the bat, or was it just you kind of talking?
It was right off the bat. It started when I created this blog during my reporting and writing class in City College, which was in 2013. But as the years went by, I knew that I had to form a formula because sports is my bread and butter for my blog, but I also write music and music blogs and movies as well. So things like that, sports and entertainment, stuff that I've always loved, I write about on my blog.
Okay. Now you are in New York, so I won't hold you against not liking good sports teams. But what's your go to there for sports? What do you like to do, or do you follow more of the seasons?
One thing I try to do, I mean, I don't just focus on New York sports teams. I focus on college sports as well. I focus on even teams that don't get too much attention, I should say. So aside from having my own YouTube channel and my own blog, I'm also a contributing writer for Fansided, and I write for the Blue Jays, and I have that, and I
The
also
Toronto Blue Jays?
Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah, I'm a
Really? What do
contrib-
you write for them?
I'm a contributing writer, so anything that's newsworthy, I write it every month, and I'm also a contributing writer for a small company called Cleveland Sports Talk. So anything related to Cleveland sports, the Browns, the Cavs, the Guardians, I write about it every month, 2 articles per month at
Well, there's
least.
not a lot of right there, though. I mean, so that's good. I mean, it saves you time.
Yeah, but the most important thing for me is to get that experience.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's really my main goal. Just continue build that experience and network. And like I said, I'm very happy with where I am in sports right now. Clearly, there's more that I'm gonna be doing, which I'll keep that under the rug right now. But I'm happy. I have my blog, I have my YouTube channel, and I have those 2 companies that I'm the contributing writing for. So that's basically 4 jobs that I'm doing for sports.
So now Now, what's your YouTube channel and your blog? Where can people find those at?
For sports, it's called the MMM Journal, and for my movie side, I have a production company called Double O 94 Productions. So both of those channels are on YouTube
All
for
right.
those who want to follow.
And definitely everybody check out, and also if you're on Twitter, it's sports indie underscore. As soon as you type in sports indie underscore, you'll see Miguel pop right up. But it's sports indie underscore triple M, right?
Right.
MMM. Uh, and I have to tell you, I kept every time I wanted to type your name out, I wanted to put Michael Miguel Medina. I just want for some reason I wanted to always write it that way, even though I know it's Miguel Mike Medina. I wanted to keep writing it that way. I was like, I would type it out and I'd be like, son of a shit, delete that back up. So now, did you play a lot of sports in school, or you just were always a fan?
I have two answers to that. Number one, I was always a fan. I've always loved sports since I was 8 years old. But my first my first dream was to become a baseball player. So when it comes to sports, whether it's writing or talking about it, yes, I love basketball, I love football, I love hockey and boxing, but baseball is my number one. Is my number one sport. So I knew that okay, I couldn't be a baseball player. I wasn't good enough to be a baseball player. If I would have stayed dedicated throughout the years, then who knows what could have happened. But what I did is I used my dream, my first dream, and turned it into something special. So I write about it, I talk about it, and since I'm a filmmaker, I could even make a project about it. So that's what that's what brings me joy and peace and comfort about that. I'm not bitter whatsoever because I feel that in life, as you get older, you'll start discovering things about yourself. You start trying new things that you never imagined before. So I always say that everybody has a hidden talent, but it's up to us to discover that, to find out what that talent is. And for me, I'm very fortunate that I discover um, early on in my 20s. And but I always say that there's no age limit to discover what your passion is and what you're talented in.
So now you kind of you know your passion is baseball. You mentioned boxing also. Now, do you ever cover any of the smaller sports? Like I'm a big lacrosse fan. In New York, we have many indoor box lacrosse teams. Albany's got a team. Rochester has a team. Buffalo has a team. We got a lot of teams around here. Do you follow any of those sports or do anything on those?
Lacrosse, I remember covering one game of lacrosse, and that was at Columbia University.
Nice.
And that was cool. I mean, I don't follow lacrosse, but it's different when you're watching it up close. When you're watching it up close, it's totally different than when it's on TV. It's more engaging, it's more entertaining. Um,
100%.
Volleyball, I don't follow it, but I've covered it when I was in City College and my alma mater. So those small things, I've pretty much followed and covered. Not as much, but something is something.
Hey, look, I mean, most people just sit around at the bar, or sit around on their asses and talk about sports like they know what they're talking about. They don't get out there and really try to educate themselves and learn about it. Uh, as I'm always curious, I know I have my favorite Orioles player is always an obscure player. Everybody thinks it should be, and I do like Cal Ripken. I do like Rick Dempsey. I do like all those guys. But who's your go to baseball player?
Oof. Of all time or
Yeah,
currently?
for you, like the one player that you loved, and you were like, everybody else was like, "You like that dude? Like, really?" Like, I got mine for me, I always tell everyone, Mike Devereaux. Played for the Started off at the Dodgers, was an O, He's actually this weekend going to be in Baltimore for the 30th anniversary of Camden Yards. Like, I'm a Mike Devereaux fan. That's my man, Devo.
Oof. Oh man, it's tough because it's not just one. I always say I have more than one. I mean,
Well, who you got? I mean, let's hear it.
It's been. I mean, I've been watching baseball for 22, 23 years, and there's just so many that is just like wow. But for I mean, I will say this. I would say this person, but I'm not going to because he's my idol. So I'm not gonna be biased. So I'm
Oh, you froze up on me again. Where'd you go, brother? He froze up on me. He was gonna tell us his idol, and then he froze up because it was so important. He froze up on me. Are you back?
yeah.
Okay, who was it? Who's the idol player?
Well, the guy that I always idolize is obviously the captain, Derek Jeter.
Oh, Derek
He,
Cheater.
Derek Jeter, yeah. But I'm trying to think of someone else
Here's
besides
my
him.
question, though, and I heard this the other day. I want to get your opinion. Jeter doesn't play for the Yankees. He's a Kansas City Royal. He's any other team. Does he matter?
I mean, it's debatable. I mean, I know that Jeter is one of those guys where people find them overrated. They bash his defense. I mean, his defense is not that bad the way many media members are making it turn out to be. Is Was he better than A Rod at that position? No. Was he even better than Norman Garcia Parra? No.
No, ma.
So, and that's another guy. I feel like he's forgotten Nomar Garcia Parra. But
Unless you watch
and when I
Saturday Night
started
Live.
watching when I started watching baseball, those three were the hottest young shortstops in the game at the time.
Oh, absolutely.
But the thing about Jeter is his personality and his work ethic. That's
I'll give
what
you that.
drove people to love him, you know? And for a guy like A Rod, and I'm not gonna get controversial with this, but A Rod, I love A Rod for several reasons. I mean, I will always, I thank him for 2009, but there's a lot of things that A Rod could have done differently that would have not made people hate him as much. As part of it had to do, part of it was not his fault, but on the other side, it was his fault. But in terms of A Rod and Jeter, A Rod was way better than Jeter, hands down, way better than him. So I never really understood the jealousy of him. I guess because he wasn't revered as him, and they were tight at one point. If you know, um,
Well, I remember
before
when A Rod came.
before he went to Texas, they were tight. They
What
were
was the other
tight,
way? A Rod came from Texas to New York. I remember when he signed the 10-year, $120 million deal. That was like unheard of.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying before he came to the Yankees, before he even went to Texas, Jeter and A-Rod, they were tight. They had a great
Oh,
friendship.
okay.
They were inseparable. But then some comments that A-Rod made about him when he signed with Texas pretty much derailed their friendship. But hey, at least they won a ring together in 2009. They could have had more. They should have had more. Had they would have got their act together in October because as a Yankee fan, I'll say this: I'm one of these Yankee fans that I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna always use the we have 26 world championships, blah 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 blah. When in reality, we've only won one title in like 21, 22 years. So if it wasn't for 2009, we would have gone through 22 years without winning one. So
It's a great point.
exactly. So I feel that as a Yankee fan, I can't always use that excuse. I always gotta look at it as okay, you guys, we won the division. That's cute, but can you come through in October? Because to me, as a Yankee fan, that's what it matters. Can you come
Right.
through in October? So right now, Aaron Judge, he's
That
putting
dude's a
an
beast.
amazing
That dude's a
season,
beast.
but I'm not.
Oh no, the Yankees are cutting us off because they knew I was going to talk bad about them. Uh-oh, we lost
Uh,
Miguel for we lost
for
Miguel for a
me,
moment.
a part of me is saying like, wow, like Judge is really killing it. But then the other side of me is like, okay, that's cute, but can you do this in October? when the bright lights, are on. So I'm still waiting for that.
That it's a great point that you bring up there. That certain sports franchises, and I think that's a great point. Certain sports franchises, I don't care what you do all season long. What do you do in the postseason? That's all that matters. I mean, how many years with New England? They could do anything you want during the regular season. If you don't win a ring, it was a failed season for them. Same thing with the Yankees in Boston. You don't win a ring, it's a failed season. It means nothing to anybody.
But Boston fans, I hate to say this, but since 2001, it has been their way. Not just with the Patriots, the Red Sox, just with those two together, they've
Celtics
dominated. They've
don't.
dominated. So therefore, they're doing way better than us as of
Yeah.
now. From 2001 to now, they've done way better than us. So
Well, that's a
for
great
that,
question about New York sports in general, because I made the comment about Jeter. I don't think Jeter on any other team. He'd always been a great ball player, but he wouldn't have been Jeter. Like you wouldn't have had that coverage of the guy. Do you think that hurts a lot of athletes when they come to that New York market? There's that expectation that you're supposed to perform at a different level in this city than anywhere else. I mean, look at Kansas City. I mean, that's a small TV market, but a beast. They've won World Series in the last decade. They've won Super Bowls in the last decade. I mean, that's a beast of a team. What do you think that does there? I mean, and we're going to kind of use that to kind of catapult into you getting into acting in that area. What is that like? You know,
well, I'll say this. First of all, let me answer this. Not everyone is meant to play New York. Not everyone is built for that New York media. Not everyone is built for that criticism. And as a Yankee fan, I,
it's different, isn't it?
I know how it is. I trust me. I know that we're not the easiest people to please. Um, Unfortunately, there is a lot of us that are very don't have a very good conduct when they go to the stadium. So I'm just being honest. I'm
Look,
just being
I
honest.
like the way you put that. The
Yeah,
conduct isn't the best at the stadium.
yeah, it's not. And I was disappointed early on this season against the Cleveland. I was gonna say Indians. I prefer Indians over that ridiculous Guardians name. But
Yeah, I think it's a silly name. I get it changing the name, but you could have come up with something better. Oh, we lost him again. See again, we get to talking about some of these teams and they freeze him out. They're freezing Miguel out on us, folks. They're trying to keep him from saying what's
I'm
up.
I'm keeping it real.
He's keeping it real, and they're trying to keep him. See, look, now I'm gonna have to throw this up here for a second, Miguel, only because this is another O's fan. I mean, this is just the way we feel, brother. Yankees suck. I mean, we
I
we.
mean, hey, listen, I do not get mad at all because, like I said
But
earlier,
isn't that what's great about sports?
it's like I'm not a biased person. I have to stick to what the reality is. So until I see them winning, like actually winning, going to the World Series and winning, I gotta say like it's just the same old story.
Bro, my
It's just
O's are
the,
doing amazing right now, winning. They're above
they're-
500. They're playing phenomenal ball. They're still 16 games out.
and to be honest with you, it is one of the most surprising stories of the season. The Baltimore Orioles. And this was a team that won. I think it was only 52 games last year, and
Bro,
look
it's
what
been
they
horrible.
and look where they are now. And I had the privilege of going to Camden Yards before the pandemic,
Oh, nice.
and it's one of those ballparks that it was on my bucket list, and I went over there by myself, and I just had an amazing time there.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it? I would tell you if you like to tour ballparks, if you like Camden Yards, you got to go to Petco Park or whatever they're calling it now out in San Diego. Um, Kind of designed very similar to Camden Yards. Beautiful park.
I feel
Uh,
that the Orioles, speaking of the Orioles, I'll say this. I feel that the team that they've had, that they could have won it all, but they didn't, was the 97 team.
yes.
That 97 team, if you look at that lineup,
Uh,
ugh, it was a beauty. We're
that's the
talking
year.
about, we're talking about,
Oh, he's chopping up on it. See, every time my man's talking the truth, the internet gods come out and get Miguel. But we're gonna get him back here in a second. The internet gods keep coming in, but he's talking about that '97 O's team. That '97 O's team. If I'm not mistaken, that is the year also. Is '97 the year that the Yankees fan snatched the ball over the wall? Is that '97?
96.
90. I see you remember it. That's like that sits in our hearts as O's fans. But now here's a question for you. As a guy who writes sports and you're following all these things, what do you think about some of these trades? Like I'm going to use my O's for a minute. They made a trade. They made a trade for Trey Mancini, but they got rid of their only All Star, Jorge. God, what the hell's his last name? Can't think of his last name right now. It's their only All Star, but they got rid of him for 4 prospects. Do you think that's worth it for a team that seems like they're gelling now and they're making it happen? Here's your only All-Star, and you use him to leverage for 4 prospects that you know nothing about?
Yeah, I quite didn't really understand that part, to be honest with you. Because, like you said, I saw a team that was already rebuilding. You could say that they still are rebuilding, but you could see that they were coming together at the right time. And the fact that this is the first year that the playoff format expanded, um, I feel like they could have hold their breath a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I know the deadline was coming up, and it was a long shot. You know, like I said, 16 games out from even being in first place, and with the new format for playoffs, it was a long shot. But talking about long shots, you also how many? I mean, for those that aren't watching the live right now, if you look behind Miguel, you can see some of the awards that he's won. He's got them stacked up behind him. I think behind him is the Academy Award. We just can't see it. His head's blocking his Academy Award. Maybe someday. We'll see. But he's won a lot of awards, been nominated for a lot of awards. He would not like to see this frozen picture of him right now. But he's done these things, but he's doing it out of New York City, which is, like the song says, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. What's that? What was your, you know, were you a theater kid in high school, or what was that made you say, "Hey, I'm going to get into this movie piece"?
Well, it all started in my last semester in college when I registered for intro to acting class. But the moment that I realized that I wanted to give acting a try is when I saw 2 movies in late 2013, The Wolf of Wall Street and 12 Years a Slave. But it was more, and Captain Phillips, but it was more The Wolf of Wall Street that really put the stamp and say, I want to give this a try. And so I did. And and this was in my last semester, by the way, before graduating. But the beauty of it is that in the school, they had a one act play festival going on. And when I went to the audition, I knew I nailed it and I got cast for 2 plays.
Oh
So
wow!
I finished college with 2 plays under my belt. And then from there, I just kept on working on acting, going to auditions and stuff like that. But it wasn't until like a year and a half later that I said to myself, let me start writing. Let me start writing my own stuff because I just was getting a little tired of, going, sorry to say this, going after shitty roles. So I just started creating my own stuff and I haven't looked back since. But I will say this, we have iPhones, we have the rise of technology and all this other stuff. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be very honest about it. You do not need to be in LA.
Oh, he froze on us again. He said he doesn't need to be in LA. I don't know what he
You
need to be in LA
if
for, but
if you want to be in Hollywood, if you want the glitz and glamour, then I don't blame you. Go to LA. Um, the same thing here in New York. I was born and raised in New York, so therefore I'm lucky in that regard. But if you living like let's say in Texas, Florida, Tennessee, the list goes on and on. Any, I'll say any small market city or state, you could be a filmmaker. You could be an independent filmmaker. You can really do it. I mean, you have an iPhone, you have all these tools like what as a filmmaker, writer, etc. We're living in the best time because of that. We have all these resources. So I even there was even a point which was at the height of the pandemic. I was doing short films by myself.
oh really?
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do, but
Yeah, like
but
how do you even begin to do that?
like I said, you do research, you start thinking, you write stuff down. My writing process is I take out a composition notebook, I write it down, then I put it on the computer, on the software, and I just go about it. And at the same time, there's also been times where I will use, like, let's say my mom or my little sister to help me, put the camera here, or should say, put the phone here, do this, do that. I tell them, like, this is what I'm planning on doing, and they help me out. So I always say, use your resources. Use your resources. Use everything that you have around you. Like, you don't have to um, be bougie and because that's what anyone that's into film that loves doing this, we were taught that, oh, you got to go to film school, you got to move to LA.
Oh, as soon as he says LA, it locks his computer does not like to hear him talk bad about LA. Does
And
not like it at all.
I've been to LA. I love LA. I
Miguel,
went to
Miguel, you got to hold up, man. You're as soon as you said LA, your whole system locked up on you. Every time you say LA, it locks up on you. You you got LA, you got LA ghosts over there in New York City trying to hold you up, don't you?
I was listen. I've been to LA. I love LA. It's nice, but in terms of living over there, I don't see that in the cards for me. I just don't. I
East
just
Coast,
don't.
East
Like,
Coast.
like you gotta think about what brings what makes you happy. You gotta think about your future living conditions. Do you really wanna you know deal with, how can I
Drought,
say,
drought, fires, earthquakes.
not just that, but also like living expenses. Do you really wanna get hammered with that kind of rent that you have to pay monthly, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all about, you got to think about how you want to live your life going forward. And that's how my thinking, my thought process is. Now, would you ask me, do you want to spend the rest of your life living in New York? My answer is no. No,
No, where are you
no,
trying to do this at?
no. Um, that's something that I'm still figuring out. I do have some ideas in mind, which I'm not going to disclose yet because I don't want to contradict myself. So I'm going to keep it that way. But I will say New York, no, definitely not. I love New York. It will always be home for me. I will always root for my New York teams. But in terms of my future of where I want to live, nah, it's not in the cards for me. No.
I understand that completely, 100%. What you're saying. Like I grew up in Baltimore. I love Baltimore. You know, it's in my heart. I if we had a professional badminton team, I'd root for it. I don't care. But living back in Baltimore just ain't a thing.
Yeah. And, like I said, I've been to Baltimore once, mostly because of Camden Yards, but it's one of those cities that obviously I would like to go back. I would love to see a Ravens game up close.
Oh, those
explore
are
more.
fun.
I would like to explore Maryland more. I'm the type of person, as I got older, I want to experience a lot of different cities, a lot of different states, to see, what they have for me. Well, it's something that I fall in love with, because I'm a guy that I don't really care about being the center of the attention. And what I mean by that is, yes, I love what I do. I love being a freelance sports journalist, a writer, an actor, etc. But I'm not one of those people that I'm gonna do certain things that is completely out of character just to get the attention. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm hearing you.
I'm a low key guy. I'm more of a homebody person. I love traveling, but at the same time, I'm more of a homebody. So as of right now, I'm doing a lot of things from home, and I love being comfortable. I love being at peace and tranquility. Do things the right way because that's how I was brought up. So
So tell us a little bit about, here it is. You've decided, hey, I've watched these films. I'm going to get into the acting bug has me. You said it was your senior year in college, right?
right.
What was it like, even figuring out how to go to an audition? What was that process like?
Auditions for me, I have a love and hate relationship with auditions. I love it in the sense that you want to prove yourself that you're the best actor for this role or for that role. But it's up to the casting directors and producers, etc., to see if you're right for the role. I love it that in that sense that you want to go and prove yourself. You want to prove that you have the talent and that that they should get you and that you're disciplined and focused. What I hate about it is the feeling of going in, the feeling of going into the audition. I feel that
Oh, I feel he just froze up on us again. So we'll have to wait for Miguel to come back to us so we can figure out what he feel. You froze on me, Miguel. I heard. I feel that going to an audition, and I lost you, man. I was ready. I was ready to make this happen.
the hate part, right? Was it the hate part?
That's it. I feel it. That's it. Where were we at from there?
In terms of the hate part, like I've been to auditions where they would give me a direction, and to me, part of it didn't make any sense, but I'll do it anyways. So also the fact that like I could write my own roles. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I going after? Why am I auditioning for the the wrong roles? But I'm doing it because I'm taking everything. And this was my mindset the first 2 years of my acting career. Obviously, things have changed ever since. But yeah, it's just I don't like feeling nervous when I go to auditions. I don't like um, some casting directors just not giving you the right directions of what to expect from you when you're delivering this line or that line. So it's 50-50 for me. I love it and hate it at the same time, but that's what you got to do. Auditioning comes with the territory.
Now, how did you start finding places to audition? Like being in New York City, there's a lot of movies that are made there. We're starting to get a lot up here in the Albany, Troy area also. But how do you actually find, you know, you're not in the SAG, you're not in any of those things when you first start off. So how did you actually figure out how to start auditioning?
There's a website called Backstage,
Backpage?
backstage.com, and I would apply for roles and things like that through there. And if they reach out to me, then I go to the audition. But basically, most of my auditions have came through that website.
So what are you providing to them on that website for them to be able to say, "Oh, Miguel's who we need."
Obviously, I have my headshot there, my reel, my resume. My profile is pretty stacked on Backstage. I've come a long way through that, so I've noticed that if you have a reel and a nice headshot, it increases your chances of them reaching out to you. Obviously, everyone else who have backstage or actors access, which is another website that actors can create an account to
to kind of get
for
noticed and
casting
everything.
calls for casting calls. But
Now, when you say
that's
a
something that
reel,
I've noticed.
what
That's something I've noticed over the years.
what's a reel? Like I think of Facebook reels. What's a reel? So you, you froze. It froze up on me. He's probably telling me all these amazing things about how I can be an actor myself. But we lost Miguel for a moment, so we'll be back. So he's telling us about reels and what this is. You back with me, brother?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. So what's a reel?
A reel is basically a compilation of all your work. So of all your best work. So I'll say whether it's acting, cinematography, or directing, I always say keep your reel, make your reel at least 2 minutes maximum. Don't go over 2 minutes because you got to think that a casting director, they're getting 1,000 submissions, so they don't have time to see 5, 10 minute reels. I'll say the shorter the better, and make sure it's your best work.
Impactful.
Exactly. It has to be your best work, and make sure that it's that the sound is good and well edited.
All right. So now you started getting you've gotten started to get roles pretty consistently. You're talking about your back page, but your IMDb has a ton of stuff on it. Um, there is a whole lot on that IMDb. So what was the first thing that when you got into acting and that you were actually nominated for a award? What was the first thing?
That I got nominated. It probably. Oof, that's a good question because I have a ton of films under my belt right now, so I'm gonna have to think about this one.
Well, what was the first one you actually, won for? I mean, we can all be nominated, but what was the first award that you won?
The first award that I won was the Audience Award, and that was for my very first short film
Now,
called
what's an
Green.
audience award?
Yeah, that was an Audience Award.
But what what
Um,
is what is an audience award? What is that?
Basically, for that one, um, they vote for the movie that they enjoy.
Okay, so it's a vote by the fans to determine what movie they like, how they enjoyed it. All right.
In terms of I could say that the most recent films that I started seeing that wow, I'm getting a lot of nominations and selections was a short film called Neighbors, Breakups, and Surprises. It's a comedy short film.
Now, if somebody wanted to watch that, could they find that on your YouTube?
Not on YouTube, but I have it on Vimeo on a private link. So if anyone wants to
Do
see
you
it
use
or
do you use
whatever,
that to do you use that to pick up significant others? Like, oh, let me send you this private link to my special film that I made that I won awards for.
nah,
Is that your pickup line? Look,
nah.
he's blushing. For those of you that aren't watching the live right now, Miguel is actually blushing. He's like, nah,
No,
man,
no, no, no,
I
no.
would never do
Because
that.
no, I have. Well, I used to have a lot of shorts on YouTube, but I have a few now. I decided to put those a lot of ones on private for film festival purposes, because there are some film festivals that don't really like when your film is on YouTube. They prefer to
Oh,
have the premiere at the festival and things like that. And then I'm also like working on something in development that like I said, I'm gonna
what
keep
you
it
working
quiet.
on? Hold on, don't be stingy. What you working on?
I had to. I
Don't be
don't
stingy.
like when I have a master plan going on. I don't want to drip. I don't want to drop everything at the moment. So until it
Uh,
happens, until it happens, then I'll disclose it.
Look, there's a rule on the Above the Bar podcast that if you make it on the red carpet, I ain't got to be in front of the camera. I'll walk behind you, but you got to take me on the red carpet. That's a rule. If you didn't know that, that's a rule here on the Above the Bar podcast. Is You make it to that level, you gotta take me on the red carpet. I mean, I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, hey, like I said, like I'm not a person that, you know, um, I care about winning an Oscar in the future or things like that. I feel like this, what you see behind me.
The awards behind you right now. Miguel's froze again, folks. He's got a if you're for those of you that are looking here, ton of great awards behind him. He's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different awards behind him right now.
And these are just some. Some of them are also on a certificate, on a plaque, on a thing. So overall, I've won 34 awards.
God,
So
Lord, for
34.
acting.
Not just acting, but also in other areas like best comedy, best drama, best director, best editor, et cetera, et cetera. So in many different
So
areas
all
that I've
within
won.
within that industry, though,
Yeah, all within
bro,
the indie film life.
bro. Like they got to be beating your door down for these movies.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm like you have to. I tell this to anyone: do it your way. Create your own stuff. At some point, it might be 5, 10 years later, or whatever the case may be. Someone might come knocking. It might not happen, but at least you got to keep in mind, what do you really want? Do you really want to be rich and famous, or do you love what you do? It is what you want to do, the craft. And I'm the type of person that I love this. Why? Because I know I'm good at it. So
That's
whether
awesome.
yeah, whether they come knocking or not, I really don't care because I'm doing it my way. I'm telling my story my way.
So now I know you said you got something working, you got something in the works right now. You ain't gonna drop it on us just quite yet, but is there anyone out there from an acting or any actor and or director, like pick one of each, that you say, hey, I would love to work with this person?
Oh, that's an easy one. From an acting standpoint, if I would ever be in a position to work with this person, it would be Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay. Now, what is it about Jake Gyllenhaal?
There's so many great actors that I'm a fan of, but Jake Gyllenhaal to me is one of those actors that, yes, he's dedicated.
Uh, oh, we lost him. Because I'm curious why Jake Gyllenhaal, because he was just actually there was something about him with one of the Marvel movies that just popped up. What was it that about Jake Gyllenhaal that just popped up for the Marvel movies? Because you froze on us again.
With Jake Gyllenhaal, what makes him, and there's so many great actors that I'm a fan of that I've looked up to, but the thing about Jake Gyllenhaal is not only he's dedicated at what he does and what he's good at what he does, but the challenges he takes on many different roles. For example, Prisoners. Prisoners, which was he acted alongside with Hugh Jackman, aka Wolverine. His performance in that movie was magnificent, magnificent. And then the following year, he followed up with Nightcrawler, which he lost weight to play that role, to play a sociopath, and it was a very difficult role. And then the following year, he came out with Southpaw, the boxing movie, and he put
Yes.
in a lot of weight to play that role. And those three movies for 3 years straight, he knocked that out the ballpark. But but the what pissed me off about it was that I felt that his performance in Prisoners and Nightcrawler, he should have been nominated for an Oscar, but he didn't. So I've always felt that Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those actors that is undervalued in Hollywood.
I could see that. I mean, and again, he's one of those guys, very diverse, and he made the crossover to Marvel films. I think they're all doing that, but he made the crossover and he made that character believable.
I also want to add this, and I feel that you're a better actor when you're on stage. And I saw him perform Sunday in the Park with George here in New York a
Oh
couple
wow,
of
you
years
saw
ago.
that?
Yeah, I saw it. and I was lucky to get a selfie with him after the show. So it was a cold day, and therefore the quality of the picture was not good. It doesn't look great, but at least I got a picture with him.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah. So after seeing him on stage, my admiration for him went through the stratosphere because he was that good in that play. So Jake Gyllenhaal, if I have any actor that I would
That you
be
could
blessed
work
to
with.
be working with, it will be him.
Nice.
From
How
a
about a
dir-
director? How about a director?
from a director, ha 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 ha. Oof. Uh, can I mention two?
Sure. You can mention as many as you want.
I have to go with two of the goats. I have to.
All right.
I have to.
What are you gonna say? Spielberg and who would be the other one? So God, what the hell is his name? Oh God, can't think of his name right now.
I'll say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Martin Scorsese
Scorsese. Yeah.
and Quentin Tarantino.
See, now I would agree with you with Quentin Tarantino. I don't know if how much I would care about Scorsese, but Quentin Tarantino, absolutely.
Well,
Now,
yeah, those.
and they're very opposite of each other. Very, very opposite directors.
Yeah. They're definitely very opposite of each other. Now, if you ask me, like, okay, is there anyone right now, like in the modern um filmmakers that's putting out a lot of work right now? Because we know what Tarantino and Scorsese have done in the film industry. But if you're asking me, like, right now, I would say this person, yes, he has a couple of good films so far under his belt, and I think he's really good. It will be I'm gonna have a trouble pronouncing his name because I always get it wrong. Denny, he directed Dune and Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, I
Denny
know you're talking.
Villeneuve.
So Dune so I'm a big fan of the original 1984 Dune. I think it is still to this day an amazing masterpiece of a movie. Um, but the remake with you're talking about Dennis
Villeneuve,
Villanueva
him, yeah,
Villanueva.
him,
Uh,
yeah. He's legit.
what he was able to do visually in that movie, which is why it won all the Academy Awards it won. Um, just a visual masterpiece. Like it's now back in one of those movies in rotation where it's like I just got to watch this. I don't care what else is going on. I just got to watch this. I just got to watch what's happening in this movie and see if I could find something else. So I'll give you that guy. For me, I got to agree with you with Quentin Tarantino, but my actors would be Robert Duvall or Timothy Oliphant. See, he locked right up on me. I told him some amazing stuff, and Miguel went and locked right up on me. So maybe he'll come back. You back? Did you hear mine?
Yeah,
Did
you said Robert
Robert
Duvall and Timothy.
Oliphant. Timothy
Oliphant.
Oliphant. Timothy Oliphant is from like Justified. He's in the movie The Crazies and about 100 other different things. Huge fan of his work and Robert Duvall's work. The two of them, but I got to agree with you on Quentin Tarantino. Did you ever see the interview with Jamie Foxx talking about doing Django with him and like Quentin Tarantino like getting in his ass about knock it off, this dude's a slave, act like it. And he's like, "Oh shit." Like he thought he was going to come in there and be a badass and then he just got put. Nate, who's a super fan, Nate, good buddy of mine, he says Robert Downey Jr. But you got to ask yourself this, Nate. Do you want new Robert Downey Jr. or do you want old Robert Downey Jr.? Like, there's two different Robert Downey Jr.'s you could be acting with. Like, coked out of his mind Robert Downey Jr. or modern day, everybody loves him. Because I still remember that dude going to jail and being on TV, going to jail on the regular before he got his shit together. He says new. He says new Robert Downey. So we're gonna get ready. We're gonna close the bar up here in a minute. There, Miguel. Don't log off afterwards. We got to talk for a moment. Um, so what kind of stuff, upcoming? What do you want people to reach out and grab of yours so that they can kind of get to know you better from your acting and your sports side? What should they be reaching out to?
They can reach out to me in many different accounts. The first one, I'm gonna go with Instagram first. Um, Mike Medina 31. That's one. Bear with me, people, because I have so many accounts. So,
What you got all these accounts for? Look, I asked him how many accounts why he got so many accounts. His shit froze right up. He ain't trying to give up the ghost on this one.
no, no, no. Like the reality is that I have a lot of going on. I have a
He,
lot going on.
he
So,
in that baller
you
life.
know, yeah, I got a lot going on. So therefore,
All right,
got to separate one or the other.
so give it to everybody again. We lost you there for a minute.
All right. So I have Mike Medina 31. That's Instagram, right? I'm starting with Instagram. Mike Medina 31. My production company, LL94 Prod. The MMM Journal. And last but not least, and this is the sports one, my sports personal account, Miguel underscore passion for sports. That's
That
Instagram. All four of them.
Miguel underscore
Passion for sports.
passion. Oh, there he is. Look, I'm looking all these up. We're giving you the love that you need, brother. We're giving you all that love.
Appreciate it.
Try to make a little extra happen here. So, how about any upcoming movies or stuff that was recently released that people should be looking for?
Yes. At the start of 2023, I'm putting out what I called Mike's Zoom film series. So it's something completely new and different that I've never done in my career so far. It's basically every episode will be a short film itself, but recorded through Zoom.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and that will premiere January of 2023. We've already started filming that. I also have three projects that is currently in the film festival circuit right now. One of them is a documentary, and two of the other ones are short films.
Nice. And these are going to be these are at film festivals or in 2023 or how's that working?
It's currently right now in the 2022, and
Oh, we're lost you there, brother.
these three projects, my documentary, and the two short films, are currently being submitted for this year and at the beginning of next year as well. And then I recently finished a micro short film, which I'll be putting out for festivals for next year.
Nice. You got a ton going on there, brother. Absolutely. So, look, folks, make sure you take the time. Go find Miguel. Go watch some of his films. Go follow him on all over Instagram. He's got about 48 accounts for you to follow.
Okay.
So make sure you go follow all those. What was your YouTube channel?
Um, the YouTube channel is the MMM Journal, and the other one is Double L94 Productions.
So make sure you go follow all of his YouTube channels. But as you're going to do that, for those of you that are just finding us today, make sure you find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, TikTok. It's all the Above the Bar podcast. Our parent network is Earplug Podcast Network. Follow us over there. And if you got, that sticker you're looking to get your information out, whether you've got a production company or your own, whatever you got going on, make sure you reach out to us at the Above the Bar podcast at gmail.com. Now, Miguel, one of the rules here, now don't log off afterwards. We got to talk for just a minute. One of the things we always do here is the guest gets the final word. So what's the final word, brother?
Final word, I would say have a lot of drive, a lot of determination, and always do it your way. but always do it the right way.
Alrighty, folks, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.